guys. I'm back here in Homer Township Cemetery. I was here earlier this morning. I cleaned this headstone, and when I cleaned it, you can hear me in the video, which I'll probably be posting that video later on this week or next week. You can hear me say in the video that there was some lettering here as I was cleaning and it disappeared, and I thought that maybe it was going to dry and you were going to be able to see it again. A customer came over and looked at this headstone tonight and said, "Hey, that lettering, is that going to come back?" And I said, well, if it was going to come back, it would have come back by now because it's dry now. So I told her that I would come over and fix it. And what I have here is I have some oil paint, oil-based paint. This is called titanium dioxide. It's very white, and just a little brush, and some what they call cuttle bone or cuttlefish bone. And I'm going to show you how you can repaint these. These are very lightly etched in letters. I'm assuming that this car up here was all painted in at one time too. I don't know if she wants that painted in back in or not, but that would be a little more difficult to do. But these letters and numbers and stuff down here are going to be fairly easy, and it's a pretty simple process. You just take a brush, and this is one of my cleaning brushes. It's clean and dry, and I'm just going to brush over those letters just to make sure that there's nothing on them, no dirt or whatever on them. And then you're simply just going to take this paint and paintbrush. You're going to get a little bit of paint on your brush, and you're just going to paint over the lettering. Pretty simple process. Just gonna paint over it. Make sure that you get the whole letter covered up, and you don't have to worry about the excess that's getting on the outside on these polished stones. And I'll show you how we're going to remove that here in a little bit. You have to wait until this paint dries, and that's where the cuttlefish bone comes in handy. Okay, there it is. Whole thing's painted in. I'm gonna go around to the front side and paint that in. Okay, sun's shining on this side, so it probably is gonna dry a lot faster. You can see it maybe down in here in the camera where I missed some of the growth in there. I didn't have my spray bottle with me this morning. That probably would have rinsed that right out of there. But when I come back to touch this up next week, I'll get that stuff out of there good. It was kind of the plan to begin with. But you can't really see it here, but this says husband. And then over here it says dad. This side's gonna dry really fast because that sun is beating on it. So this is gonna look really good when it's done. I think she's gonna be really happy. before I stop and wait for this paint to dry, I just want to explain one thing. It's very important. This process works on stones that are polished finish. They're not rough, they're not textured. If I was to paint any of this lettering, even on the flat part here that's unpolished, that's going to take on this paint, whereas this polished surface is not. So in a little bit here, when we go to take that excess paint off, you'll see why that polished surface, that paint's going to come off very easily. So we're going to wait for this paint to dry, might even do a second coat, and then we'll take the excess off. So stay tuned. Okay, well, I kind of forgot that I was filming this and started on this. But so this is where the cuttlefish bone comes in handy. You're just gonna hold this flat part of it against this, and you're gonna have a little bit of paint smearing. That'll come off later. Cuttlefish bone, it's just a little bit wet. Rinse it off now, I guess, and I'll let it dry off, and I'll clean that up even better. But that already looks really good. Apparently this paint that I bought doesn't dry very quickly, so must have been just a little wet underneath there still. I'm gonna let what's on there dry, and then I'll clean this up and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, so I put on the second coat last night and came back this morning. Paint was still a little bit wet, but looks like it's dried up enough we can remove the excess with this cuttlefish bone, and then I'm going to come in with a Q-tip and some acetone and clean up these little spots in between the letters. But it's pretty simple. You just take your cuttlefish bone and hold it flat on the stone, rub it back and forth. You can use some water with this too if you want. I found that you don't have to use water, and the drier the paint is, the better. I'm removing it a little bit early because it's supposed to rain today, and I don't want to leave all this excess paint on here for dripping and stuff to happen. So take it off. I've got another one of these in the truck I can use if I have to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go get the other one. Okay, I'm gonna go get the other one and take the rest of that off. Okay, there's the back all cleaned up, and then I got husband and dad on the front that I need to clean up. So I'm gonna take you around front and show you that. All right, here's the front side. Looks like this is still a little bit tacky, just like the back was. But it'll come right off. Pretty simple process here. You just keep rubbing back and forth on there until it comes off. Obviously the drier the paint, the easier it's gonna remove the excess, but unfortunately, we just don't have the luxury of time today because it is going to rain, and I didn't want all that excess paint running down the front. So now all I'm going to do is get some regular acetone on a Q-tip and go in and clean up those few little pitted areas that are holding some paint. Like in here you can see a little bit of paint in those pits, and and then this will be done. Hopefully customer's happy. Alright, so to do the paint cleanup, I've just got regular 100% acetone nail polish remover, and I just put a little bit in this cap here, dip a Q-tip in it, and I'm just gonna go like this, clean that paint all out of those pits. Sometimes you gotta dip your Q-tip in there a couple times. And some of you guys are probably saying, well, geez, acetone, you don't want to put acetone on a headstone, but acetone is completely safe for headstones like this, and that comes directly from Mark Morton with the CCUS. He and I talked on the phone, and he assured me that acetone is 100% safe. No lingering effects with stone. So I don't know if he would actually tell anybody that he said that, but that's what he told me. So okay, now got to do that same thing on the back side, but I'm going to take a paper towel here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of acetone on it and do a little more cleanup around things, and then we'll be done. Okay, there's that. Go around to the back side, do the same thing, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, there's the back side all cleaned up. Looks great, I think. There's a little bit of paint in here still that I'll clean up next week once this paint, the letters have had time to cure. But other than that, boy, does that look good. I think it turned out great. It's hard to get it all right now, but once those letters have all cured and I can get in there a little bit more aggressive with some acetone, it'll really look nice. So
turn it off.
okay, there's that. That's how you paint the letters in on a headstone.